Imagine opening your eyes and discovering that everything you knew about the world, God, and yourself was false. Not a simple mistake or misunderstanding, but a carefully planned hoax designed to keep you blind, submissive, and powerless. A book exists that could change everything. A book so dangerous that it was banned, buried, and nearly erased from history. This book, The Secret Book of John, tells a story so shocking, so disruptive, that religious authorities feared its very existence. It reveals a truth that threatens the foundations of everything humanity has believed for thousands of years. This book speaks of a world created not by a good God, but by an impostor. The impostor, an arrogant and jealous being, claimed to be the sole ruler of creation, trapping human souls in a false reality. In this deception, suffering, ignorance, and control became the natural order, and the divine spark within humanity was hidden beneath layers of lies. The early church suppressed this knowledge for centuries. The early church labeled it heresy, wiped out entire sects for adhering to its teachings, and silenced those who dared to spread its message. But despite every effort to erase it, the truth refused to die. The Secret Book of John describes an unseen war, one that has been raging since the dawn of time. The conflict is between light and darkness, truth and illusion. The being who claimed to be the creator, known in this text as Yaldabaoth, is not the source of all things, but a deceiver, a false god who built a prison so perfect that few ever realize they are trapped. The world was not made as a paradise, but as a cage. The Garden of Eden was never a place of divine harmony. It was a carefully controlled environment where humans were kept in ignorance. The famous story of Adam and Eve eating from the tree of knowledge was not mankind's greatest sin, but its first act of rebellion. The moment they tasted wisdom, they saw through the illusion, and for that, they were punished. This lost gospel recounts a tale in which awakening, not blind faith in an authority figure, leads to salvation. This awakening leads to a realization that the world is not as it appears. The forces in control have consistently suppressed knowledge to keep humanity distracted and afraid. Those who wake up and begin to seek the truth face resistance at every turn, because a system built on control cannot function if too many people escape its grip. For centuries, secret groups and hidden seekers have carried the message forward, passing it through whispers, symbols, and coded texts. They destroyed the Gnostics, the Cathars, and countless others for possessing this knowledge. The idea that salvation comes not from worship but from understanding. This was the greatest threat to those in power, because once a person wakes up, they cannot be controlled. The deception is not just ancient history, it continues today. The same patterns of manipulation, of suppression, of rewriting history to fit the agenda of the powerful are still in place. The distractions, the fear, the relentless push to keep people from looking too closely, and the wrong questions, all of it serves the same purpose. The false god still rules, not from a throne in the sky, but through systems of belief that demand obedience without understanding. The Secret Book of John was rediscovered in the 20th century, long after those in power thought it had been lost forever. It does not preach submission or passive faith. It does not ask for worship. It offers something far more dangerous: knowledge. A chance to see the truth behind the curtain, to recognize the prison for what it is, and to begin the journey out. But waking up is not easy. The deeper one looks, the more unsettling the reality becomes. The comfort of certainty is stripped away, replaced by the weight of responsibility. Remember to join our community by subscribing to this channel. The knowledge that the world is not what it seems is both a gift and a burden. Many will turn away, unable to face what lies beyond the illusion. Others will cling to the safety of familiar lies. But a few, just a few, will choose to keep going. Those who do will find that they are not alone. Hidden communities, fragments of forbidden knowledge, and voices from the past will serve as guides. The journey is treacherous, but the reward is freedom. Not the false freedom of a life lived within invisible walls, but the real freedom of seeing, knowing, and choosing with clear eyes. The God many worship as the Almighty is not the true source of creation, but a pretender, a false ruler who hijacked existence and shaped it into a prison. This false God, known as Yaldabaoth, is not a loving father, but a being of arrogance and control. He declared himself the only God, demanding obedience from those trapped in the world he created. However, his power was not genuine. It was a stolen one. He was never meant to rule, but through deception and force, he took control. Those who tried to expose the truth were silenced. Ancient texts were destroyed, their followers labeled as heretics, and the knowledge that could free humanity was buried under centuries of fear and dogma. Even today, remnants of this deception linger in our institutions, hidden in plain sight. Religious structures, political systems, and cultural beliefs all carry traces of Yaldabaoth's influence. They shape human thought, encouraging conformity and submission. They reward obedience and punish those who dare to question. The ultimate goal is to keep people trapped in ignorance, unable to see beyond the walls that have been built around them. This control runs deeper than laws and rules. It's woven into the way people think, into the emotions they feel. The greatest weapon is fear. Fear of punishment, fear of the unknown, and fear of expulsion. The more fear takes hold, the less people question, and the stronger the illusion becomes. Throughout history, secret societies, hidden teachings, and underground movements have carried this knowledge forward. They knew that those who influenced belief systems controlled the people. They saw how empires were built on faith, how rulers used fear and ignorance to maintain power. The suppression of truth was not just about religion, it was about control. The battle takes place within the mind and soul. Every moment of doubt, every questioning thought, and every glimpse beyond the illusion is an act of rebellion against the system that was designed to keep people asleep. Those who awaken begin to see the patterns, the repetition of history, the rewriting of truth, the way power always seeks to silence those who challenge it. Hidden beneath the surface of mainstream religious traditions lies a forgotten path, one that speaks of knowledge over blind faith, self-discovery over obedience, and a reality far greater than the one we've been conditioned to accept. This path is known as Gnosticism, an ancient belief system that directly challenges the foundation of conventional Christianity. While most religious teachings emphasize devotion to an external deity, Gnosticism tells a different story. It speaks of an inner divine spark, something buried deep within every human being. This spark, though small, is a direct connection to the true source, the ultimate force of creation. But something has obscured this light, trapping humanity in a world of illusion and confusion. Mainstream Christianity teaches that God created the heavens and the earth, shaping mankind in his own image. Gnosticism, however, unveils a far darker truth. The world as we know it was not formed by the true divine presence, but by a lower, arrogant being who claimed dominion over creation. This entity, often referred to as Yaldabaoth, is not a loving father depicted in religious texts, but a false architect, one who built this material realm as a prison. The deception runs deep. Organized religion, according to Gnostic belief, became a tool of this false ruler, reinforcing control by dictating what is sacred and what is forbidden. The very institutions that claim to guide people towards salvation may, in fact, be perpetuating the spiritual enslavement. This is why Gnostic scriptures were hidden, burned, and outlawed, because they exposed the illusion for what it truly is. The Gnostics didn't reject Jesus, but they saw him differently than traditional Christianity does. To them, Christ was not the son of the false god, but a messenger from the true divine realm, a being of pure wisdom sent to awaken those trapped in darkness. His mission was not to demand worship, but to remind humanity of its true origins, to break the chains of deception, and to guide souls back to the eternal source of all creation. This interpretation changes everything. If Christ's true purpose was to reveal the hidden knowledge that leads to freedom, then his crucifixion was not an act of divine sacrifice, but an attempt by the ruling powers, both seen and unseen, to silence him. The resurrection was not about proving authority over death, but demonstrating that the material world holds no true power over the awakened spirit. Esoteric Christianity, a branch of thought deeply intertwined with Gnosticism, builds upon these ideas. It teaches that the real meaning of sacred texts is hidden beneath the surface, encoded in symbols, metaphors, and allegories. Those who read scripture at face value may never grasp the deeper truths buried within. Only those who seek with open eyes and an open mind can decode the messages left behind by those who walked this path before. Throughout history, secret societies and mystics have preserved fragments of these teachings, guarding them against those who would seek to destroy them. Groups like the Cathars, the Rosicrucians, and certain sects of the Templars carried forward Gnostic and esoteric wisdom, often at great personal risk. Their existence alone proves that the struggle between truth and illusion is ongoing. But this knowledge is not just for scholars or mystics. It belongs to anyone willing to seek it. Awakening to Gnostic wisdom is not about memorizing doctrines or following rituals. It is about questioning reality, embracing self-awareness, and recognizing the forces at play in the unseen world. It is about understanding that salvation is not granted from above, but must be reclaimed from within. Gnosticism's erasure from history stems from its continued threat to those in power today. A world where people seek their own spiritual liberation rather than submitting to external authorities is a world where control begins to slip away. The more individuals awaken to their true nature, the weaker the grip of those who feed on fear and ignorance becomes. Are you enjoying the story? Support our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Esoteric Christianity and Gnostic teachings hold a simple yet revolutionary idea. You were never meant to be a prisoner in this world. You were meant to remember, to rise, and to return to the source of all light. The forces that seek to keep you asleep will fight to maintain their illusion. But the truth has a way of revealing itself to those who are ready. For centuries, humanity has been kept in the dark, conditioned to accept the world as it is without question. But buried deep within ancient teachings is a revelation that defies everything we've been taught. One that speaks of resistance, of breaking free from invisible chain, and of reclaiming the power that was stolen from us. This is the essence of rebellion and awakening. The moment a person dares to see beyond the illusion and recognize the truth. In most religious traditions, obedience is seen as a virtue. Followers are told to accept authority, to trust in divine will, and to never question the structure imposed upon them. According to the Gnostic texts, the material world is a carefully crafted prison, ruled by an impostor god who thrives on humanity's ignorance. This being, known as Yaldabaoth, presents himself as the supreme creator, demanding worship and unquestioning loyalty. He ensures that people remain lost, disconnected from their true origins. The more they fear, the more they obey. And the more they obey, the deeper they fall into spiritual sleep. But not everyone remains asleep. Throughout history, there have been those who sensed the lie, who felt the weight of unseen chains pressing against them. They questioned, they searched, and they fought to break free. These individuals were the rebels, the ones who refused to accept a false reality. One of the most powerful symbols of this rebellion is the story of Adam and Eve. We were taught that their disobedience was a sin, a tragic fall from divine favor. But in the Gnostic tradition, their act of defiance was not a failure. It was humanity's first step toward awakening. In this version of the story, the Garden of Eden was not paradise. It was a controlled environment, designed to keep humanity docile and unaware. The tree of knowledge was not a test, but a gift, the key to seeing through the illusion. When Eve and Adam ate the forbidden fruit, they didn't doom mankind. They ignited a spark that could have led to true freedom. Yaldabaoth, fearing what they had done, lashed out. He cast them out of his false paradise, ensuring that the world beyond would be filled with suffering, struggle, and distractions to keep them from ever finding their way back to the truth. And so began the long war between those who remain asleep and those who dare to wake up. Awakening is not a single moment of clarity. It is a battle, one fought every day against the forces that seek to keep humanity blind. The system is designed to discourage questioning, to keep people focused on survival, entertainment, and empty pursuits. Every distraction serves a purpose, to prevent people from looking too closely at the truth. But those who break through the illusion begin to see patterns. They recognize the cycles of deception, the repetition of control mechanisms, and the way institutions shape beliefs to serve hidden agendas. And once they see, they can never unsee. Rebellion is not about violence or destruction. True rebellion is an act of knowledge. It is choosing to reject the imposed reality and seek the higher truth. It is refusing to be manipulated, refusing to bow to a false authority, and reclaiming the connection to the divine that was buried beneath layers of deception. This is why those who awaken often feel isolated. The world does not welcome those who question its foundations. Societies have always punished those who challenge the accepted order, whether through exile, persecution, or public ridicule. But every age has its revolutionaries, those willing to carry the flame of truth even when it comes at great cost. The deeper one goes into this awakening, the clearer the game becomes. The struggle between light and darkness is not just a metaphor, it is a war for the human soul. Those who awaken are not simply seeking knowledge, they are reclaiming a birthright that was stolen long ago. But this is not an easy path. It demands strength, courage, and a willingness to stand alone when necessary. It requires a relentless pursuit of wisdom and a refusal to be lulled back into the comfort of ignorance. The world will always tempt people back into compliance, offering security in exchange for submission. But for those who have glimpsed the truth, there is no going back. The world is shifting. Something beneath the surface, something ancient, is stirring once more. For centuries, knowledge has been buried, hidden from the minds of those who need it most. But now, the walls of deception are beginning to crack, and the truth is forcing its way into the light. The time to act is no longer in the future. It is now. Waiting longer makes it more difficult to break free from the blinding system. Signs of unrest are everywhere. The structures that have controlled humanity for generations are beginning to falter. People sense it, even if they cannot fully explain it. The feeling that something is wrong with this reality has never been stronger, and yet the distractions are multiplying. The noise of the world is deafening, drowning out the whispers of truth that call from beyond the illusion. But there is no more time for hesitation. The deeper one remains trapped in the illusion, the harder it becomes to break free. The false rulers of this world have refined their control, ensuring that every part of daily life reinforces the lie. They keep people chasing money, status, and material success, all while ensuring that the most important knowledge, the key to true transformation, remains out of reach. Real change is not about waiting for a leader to arrive. It is not about hoping that something external will shift reality. Transformation begins within. The moment one dares to see the world for what it truly is, the first step toward liberation has already been taken. But awareness alone is not enough. Action is required. Knowledge without movement is powerless. The process of transformation is not easy. It demands the breaking of old beliefs, the tearing down of comforting illusions. It means questioning traditions that have been followed blindly for generations. It requires stepping outside of the carefully designed boundaries of what is considered normal. This is not a passive journey. It is a battle for the soul. If you are enjoying this story, consider clicking Super Thanks. Your support keeps this knowledge alive and ensures that more people can discover the reality they never meant to see. And that is why urgency is necessary. There is no guarantee that truths will always be available. Those in power have erased it before, and they will do it again. History is filled with stories of wisdom being burned, of seekers being silenced, and of revolutions being crushed before they could fully form. People continue to employ the same tactics, but they have become more subtle and refined. The tools of deception have evolved, but the goal remains the same: keep humanity asleep. But for those who refuse to be controlled, the path forward is clear. Transformation is a fire that must be fed. It begins with small steps: seeking hidden knowledge, questioning authority, looking beyond the obvious. Every act of awareness strengthens the mind, sharpens intuition, and prepares the spirit for greater truths. And as more people awaken, the stronger the movement becomes. There will be resistance. The world will push back. Those who benefit from control do do not easily surrender their power. Friends, family, and society itself may ridicule those who seek something greater. Doubt will creep in, and the temptation to return to the comfort of ignorance will always linger. Once one sees the truth, it becomes irreversible. The choice then becomes simple: to move forward despite the obstacles, or to surrender and return to the illusion. The urgency to act is not just about personal freedom, it is about something greater. Every individual who awakens sends ripples through the system, weakening the hold of deception. Each mind that breaks free adds to the growing force of change. Transformation is not a solitary journey. It is a collective uprising of those who refuse to live under a lie. The illusion is crumbling. The doors to knowledge, long sealed shut, are beginning to open again. But those doors will not stay open forever. This moment in time is rare, a crack in the system that allows truth to slip through. Reluctant individuals run the risk of falling victim to the distractions and chaos that aim to prevent them from seeing clearly. Thanks for watching. Join our community by subscribing to this channel. Until the next video.